Hello, welcome to the Alone Show. I'm your host, John May Alone. In this episode, no regulars, because reasons, as always. As for our guest, he is originally from Israel, currently in Los Angeles, California, and he is a science fiction writer, amongst other things. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Nir Yaniv.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, how's life?
Oof, actually, life is quite good. I'm just sitting here and writing my stuff and creating weird animations, which, we may talk about as this continues. A lot of science fiction happening. Yeah, what's not to like?
Good point, good point. Is there anything else you're working on at the moment?
Let me see. Right now, you mean in addition to science fiction?
Yes.
Well, I'm creating a bit of music from time to time using synthesizer or the human voice or both. I actually have an album on Spotify, which is basically only vocals and drums. That's it, no other instruments. So, like, if you hear a bass, it's not a bass, it's me. If you hear a guitar, it's not guitar, it's me. Um, so, funny stuff.
Alright then, that's cool. So, what inspired you to do science fiction writing?
Well, I've been an avid science fiction reader since an early age. I was lucky enough because in Israel there was a period of time in the 70s and the beginning of the 80s in which science fiction exploded, translation-wise. I mean, right? Because sure, you learn English in school, but you know, English in school is not exactly equivalent to actually reading a book in English. So I was lucky enough to have many, many, many translations into Hebrew of the best that science fiction had to offer. And eventually, I became through a weird turn of events. I started editing Israel's. I created and started editing Israel's first science fiction online magazine. That was around, I want to say, 2000. And eventually I was like, I don't only have to edit, I could write the stuff. And so I did.
Wow, very nice.
Yeah.
And throughout your life, what encouraged you to move from Israel to Los Angeles?
I felt that I wanted to do something new, sort of to reboot my life. I've been living in Tel Aviv for, I don't know, 20 something years at the time. I was like, okay, time for something new. Time, like Monty Python, right? Now for something completely different. So I did it. And what happened relatively close afterwards is that I wrote my first solo novel in English, which is basically, by the way, why we're talking today. I wrote a novel that called The Good Soldier, and it came out, I want to say, a month and a half ago. And I'm very happy with it. First time writing a novel in English.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Are there any more books that you're in the process of writing or about to write at some point?
So right now I'm in the process of writing of some short stories. I'm still looking for my next big, novel project. I'm not sure what it might be. I have some vague ideas, but right now I'm writing a story about superheroes, but I'm not really interested in superheroes for themselves, right? Because this has been chewed on and on and on for so long. Um, but what interests me is the question of having to volunteer or like doing your duty, right? Um, if you have in the world of superheroes that we know, if you have powers, you have to use them either for good or for evil. And I'm asking why? Why do you can't you sit at home and have a milkshake instead? Why do you have to? You know. So I'm delving into that a bit.
All right then. I like that. Are there any writers you have thought about wanting to collaborate with at some point?
Well, it should be said that there's a writer that I have collaborated with several times. His name is Lavit Idhar. He's also an ex-Israeli. He's living in London, and we wrote two novels together back, like I would say 14, 15 years ago. One in English and one in Hebrew. And we just sold a short story that we wrote together. I have no idea even how long ago. So that's kind of nice, but this is the kind of thing that works only because we're very good friends, and also we sort of have the same basically the same taste and education in the field of science fiction, right? You don't just collaborate with anyone. It needs to be someone that you can relate to, that the communication level is like one notch above the rest.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. But otherwise, I'm enjoying the Fortress of Solitude.
Sweet.
Yeah.
If you were given 500 acres of land, what would you use that land for?
Wow. Okay, that's unexpected. What was a huge 500 acres? Well, first, it should be said that because I am from Israel, we're used to the metric system. So my idea of what an acre might be is kind of vague, but I understand it's a piece of land. It's a big piece of land. Um, I Well, wow, that's a lot of land. What do you do with so much land? Honestly, I'll probably sell it.
Okay. How much exactly?
Well, how would I know? What do I know? What do I know about land prices these days? I'm like, even my own house is sometimes for me, too much to take. Um, I lived in apartments all my life until I came to the US. So still, the idea of having your own house to me is like living in a palace. I'm like, what's happening? How did it come to be that I'm here? Why is there so much space in this place?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm sure someone could find a good price for 500 acres of land somewhere.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I bet. Yeah.
What app can you not believe someone has not made yet?
What app?
Someone has not made yet.
Yeah. Well, this is the place maybe to mention that I actually spent most of my adult life working in the software industry. First as a developer, then as a manager. Um, and so, because I've done so much of that, um, to me, the idea is actually how about removing many apps? How about deleting and forgetting about many, many, many existing apps? There are too many of those. um, so I don't think because when you're in my position, or rather in the position I used to hold, you hear someone come to you with ideas, with app ideas and software ideas and whatever ideas, every day. And at some point, you become really good at saying no. Um, so I admit that in the past, I won't say 10 years, I haven't heard a really good idea. But maybe it's me. Maybe I'm being negative here.
Oh, I can't argue with that. What kind of things do you like to cook or you're good at cooking?
Hmm. I'm good at saying to someone, "Please cook." Um, I'm a disaster in the kitchen. Really, I'm like it takes all the worst and stupidest of me. I mean, you could make a hilarious short film about how I try to make an omelet and fail. Um, so it's like restaurant or takeout, or luckily for me, my girlfriend. It's like the one It's my one big blind spot, I say.
Ah, all right then.
Yeah, what can you do? A man needs to know his limits.
Yes, exactly. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Actually, I'm very happy where I'm at, because I did a big move. And it is a big move. I cannot even begin to describe how major, how radical moving from Tel Aviv to LA is. Um, and so I'm so happy here. I cannot at this time I cannot see myself living anywhere else. I mean, I love many places in the world, but like I love Tokyo, but I wouldn't live there, right? Tokyo is amazing, but I wouldn't go and live there. I love Berlin, but I mean, for me, having snow for a few months is just unacceptable. I cannot, I come from the Mediterranean. I cannot take snow. Too sensitive. So yeah, LA is great for me.
Fabulous. Have you ever imagined a world as a massive garden?
The world is a massive garden.
Yes.
Well, I think I read some science fiction stories about it. Uh, and of course, the world as a garden comes from Adam and Eve, right? The Garden of Eden. That was their entire world. So it's less about me imagining it; it's more about reading about it. Um, and by the way, because when Hebrew is your native tongue, so you can read the Bible, even though the Bible is written in much more like ancient Hebrew. So there are parts that were meant to be in the Bible, but like got cut out in editing, let's say, apocryphals, I think they're called. And so there's actually a book called the Book of Eve, which tells the story of the Garden of Eden from Eve's point of view, which I think is amazingly feminist for the time it was written. Um, so yeah, so this on this matter, someone imagined the whole thing for me, saved me the work.
Yeah, absolutely. If your mind was an island, what would it look like?
Um, I guess it would look like a maze, basically a maze of whatever it is, a combination of organic and inorganic material going in all direction, like a knot that you cannot untie, right? Like you would see it over the horizon and you'll be like, what is that? Is this land? Is this a jungle? Is this a junk pile? All of the above.
Yeah, I like that, kind of.
Yeah.
What could you give a 40-minute presentation on without any preparation?
Oh wow, what I can do in 40 minutes. Let's see. I could talk, of course, about science fiction, especially uh, from between the 50s and the 70s. I could talk about cameras and lenses, and you should really be careful not to ask me about that because really, when I start, it's never ending. I could talk about editing text, editing audio, editing video. I edit everything that can be edited. Um, and I sort of can talk about nothing if my mind is on it.
Ah, alright then. How did you spend your last birthday?
Um, I think mostly sleeping. Yeah, I'm a quiet birthday guy. I'm not. I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm resting and waiting for the thing. Above a certain age, you're like, you know what? I want to forget about the whole thing. Let me rest. Let's have a restaurant, and tomorrow is another day, and let's never talk about my age ever again.
Alright, fair enough. Do you know a guy named Joe?
Not unless it's in the newspaper.
Okay, fair enough. I was
Last
thinking of.
name, yeah, last name Biden.
Oh, right, I was talking about a different Joe. Joe Mama.
I have. Oh God, dude, seriously? Okay.
I don't know. It just came to my head.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Fine.
First time I ever did that.
Huh?
It's the first time I ever said that in a
Oh.
podcast episode.
Okay. I'm. Yeah. My condolences.
What is your favorite season?
Spring. That would be spring. Yeah. Not too hot. Not too cold. You can travel. And wherever you're going, unless it's crazy north or something, is nice and you don't sweat and everything is good. Spring, yep. Give it to me any day.
Yeah, me too. What kind of music do you often listen to?
So as I've mentioned in passing, I'm also a musician. So I love jazz and I actually performed in jazz festivals. Um, so I'd listen to a lot of jazz. I know like many of your listeners will choose that moment to go away. Um, and I love funk. I love progressive rock, especially from the 70s. You know, all those Yes and King Crimson and their ilk. Um, and classical music, especially, let's say, Prokofiev, stuff like that. Um, yeah, that's basically it. Oh, and a cappella, yeah, because I'm also an a cappella artist. So yeah, I love a cappella.
Nice, nice. Would you rather speak all languages or talk to animals?
Speak all languages. I think most of the animals I met were quite clear about their desires without the need of language.
All right then. Cool, cool. Honestly, I'd say the same. I'd like to learn as many languages as possible.
Yeah, I wish I could, but the two I speak are like that's basically it.
Yeah, absolutely. What flavor of ice cream do you wish existed?
Wow, what ice cream do I wish existed? Ice cream, ice cream, ice cream. I love so much the existing ice cream that now my imagination got stuck. um, so there is, well, there's an ice cream place here in LA, and they have this flavored which got discontinued for some reason, and it's goat cheese and black olives. And so I wish they get it back, and it's actually way more delicious than it sounds. It's amazing.
Hmm, sweet. What should they teach in high school but they don't?
um Economics, that would be the first candidate, at least. Well, I have no idea what they teach in high schools these days, but yeah, basic economics would be a good start. uh like, people get out of high school without knowing what the rate of interest is. um and I would say more literature, but then probably my kind of literature, which is, as far as I know, not really taught in schools. Or, well, I don't know again how schools are these days, but yeah, I wish they taught some really serious, good science fiction there.
Yeah, that'll be pretty cool.
Hmm.
Have you been in on any interesting trips lately?
Well, I traveled back to Israel about half year ago. Um, we'll not get into the politics, but um, it was very interesting to see the place that I lived in for so many years being changed, basically, because people are feeling threatened in their own country. So it was really a sort of eat and drink because for tomorrow we die kind of vibe. I'm stressing it a bit too much, but it was really interesting to see place after not being there for several years, and suddenly it is changed.
Yeah, I can understand it. You never know until things happen. It just
Yep.
life. It's so random. How life can be.
Yeah. Yeah. Believe me, I know. Being being from where I'm at, being from Israel is not not exactly happy times right now. Let's say.
Yeah, but either way, what's important is you continue with life and in the best way possible because it things like this are gonna happen, and eventually you will just gotten so numb to it, you're just practically used to it. You will find something that is very positive. It really sticks out to us, and that's how we should always live life in a positive way.
Yep. I'm living my life. I'm trying for I'm trying to minimize the influence of what's happening in the world, because what's happening is happening. There's not much I can do about it. So I'm trying to find a positive in my own life. So far, it's working.
Yeah,
So hip hip to me.
fantastic, great, I love it.
Yeah.
If you could host a talk show, who would you have on?
Wow, a list of dead people. I would say a list of dead science fiction writers that I would love to have a conversation with, like Philip K. Dick, uh, and Alfred Bester, and the Polish Stanislav Lem, and several others of the such. It would have been amazing. It's so sad that they're not with us anymore.
Nice, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
What is the most comfortable piece of clothing you own?
Well, I have these amazing woolly socks for the winter. They are the softest material that I've ever touched. It's amazing. Let's not elaborate because this can become very quickly sexual.
Fair enough. We do not want to go there.
We do not want to go that way, but wow, a man got to find the right socks and stick with them.
Yeah, absolutely. If you could travel back in time, what decade would you want to live in?
Hmm. Maybe London in the 60s. I heard though it was fun.
Nice. Yeah, those were the days.
Yeah, so I hear.
Hmm. If you were chosen to colonize a new habitable planet, would you take the offer?
Um, no, no, I know it sounds strange because I'm a science fiction writer, but I'm averse to hard work, and it seems to me that colonizing is really hard and ungrateful work. And I'm like, first build the place and make sure there are all the necessary services and the coffee shops and and everything, and then maybe I will come.
Yeah. What always makes you laugh?
There's a book called Three Men in a Boat to Say Nothing of the Dog by Jerome K. Jerome. It was written in uh, I think 1890 or something like that, and that book never fails to make me laugh. Always, always, always makes me laugh.
All right, nice. What was the last time you worked incredibly hard?
The last time I worked incredibly hard. Wow, that was so many years ago that I don't even remember. I mean, I sort of made it my goal in life not to work hard. Um, so There were times, when I was working as a software engineer or as manager in the software area that I did some hard work, but really those were short spells, and I made sure they would stay that way, because why work hard when you can work less hard?
Yeah, I could see it that way. What takes a lot of time but is definitely worth it?
Takes a lot of time. Well, writing a book, writing a novel is like the best use you can make of your time. It's, at least for me, I know that some people write incredibly fast. That wouldn't be me. For me, it's a slow process, but every second of it counts, and every second of it is totally worth it, and the result is totally worth it. And then, seeing your book actually in the stores and actually on Amazon, uh, you know it's like it never gets old.
Sweet. If you could see one movie again for the first time, what movie would that be?
Wow. Wow. uh One movie for the first time. I think, all the great science fiction movies of the late 70s and the beginning of the 80s, or like Alien, Blade Runner, um those would be, yeah, watching those for the first time and in good quality, because back in the day, you couldn't watch them in the cinema, right? I was a little kid. So when I watched them, it was on those, old CRT tiny TVs, and that's not really watching a movie. And then, by the time I could get a big enough TV or a projector or whatever, I was already much older. So I never had the initial experience of watching those films like in the cinema. So yeah, Alien and Blade Runner.
Sweet. Those are good movies.
Yeah.
Is it better to use shampoo as soap or soap as shampoo?
Well, I am bald, so I haven't used shampoo since, I want to say, the 1990s. So I would believe any possible answer. I'm just using soap.
Alright, fair enough. I'll take it. If you could make one wish right now, what would it be?
One wish right now, I would wish, and I know it sounds like a cliche, but I would wish for perfect health for me and everyone I know. That's like, this is priceless.
Yes. Couldn't agree more. What has taken you the longest to get good or decent at?
The longest to get good or decent at.
Yes.
Um, well, I think it took me quite a long time to become a decent software engineer. I don't have any degree. I just work. I just worked as one. I never studied in university or college or anything. Um, so I started developing as a child, and it took a few years for me to become, a decent developer. Um, Other than that, I think as a musician, I went to music school. So, and even then, even after music school, it took me a few years to become a decent musician. Other than that, I just do easy stuff, so it's easy to be decent at that.
Alright then. What is the best way to stay motivated?
The best way to stay motivated for me is I always have more than one project going. So, for example, if I do not feel like writing, then I go and draw something. I do little drawings every day. If I am not in the mood for drawing, then maybe I'll do some animation. If I don't do some animation, maybe I'll compose and record some music. If I don't do that, maybe I'll do some photography. If I don't do that, maybe I'll go and write. So I'm always juggling between all the things I do, and that's how I keep myself motivated and never get bored.
Sweet. And that is all we have for this episode. It's great having you on, Nia. Talking
Thank you very
about
much.
you. You're welcome. And until next time, stay tuned for more.